going to hit record. Let
We
me get
insist
the
on
live
having
stream.
fun over here. We just insist.
What do we insist on, Dana?
We insist on having fun.
Yes, we got to
Right.
have fun.
Gotta
Well,
have
we're
fun.
going to have fun. I don't know if they're going to have fun,
Andrew,
but
wait a
we're going
minute.
to try. We're going to try.
Andrew says he's not going to do the intro because I didn't do the intro last week.
Yeah, Steven's setting a bad precedent. I wasn't here last week, and I said, "Did you guys do it?" I said, this week I don't want to do a formal intro and all that." Everybody's like, not even listening. They're like, "Whatever," and I was like, "Did you do it last week?" He's like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "Okay, good. I'm not doing one this week either.
Just jumped
I'm
right
not
in.
doing." So, welcome to Licensing Playbook Live. My name is Andrew Krause. I co-founded InventRight with Stephen Key over 25 years ago. I don't know when it's
I thought he
26. We're gonna
wasn't doing
just
an intro.
well, that's a formal intro, as you can tell. Steven, raise your hand. Nobody knows who you are. Yeah, okay, all right, good. And then Dana she has a really cool title. I forget what it is. She's our gateway manager.
Mhm.
What's your official title, Dana? I forget.
Queen of Gateway, Andrew.
Queen
Queen
of
of Gateway. Okay, there you go.
Director of Inventor
Yeah,
Relations.
her and her team, Brad, Chad, and Claudia, they reach out to tons of companies. So we're here to share what they're doing with you. Dana has some really cool scripts that they use.
Yeah,
You'll need them.
wait a minute.
I can't say the good stuff. What?
No, I wanted to say the
What?
good stuff.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
You
And
guys,
your audio is not cutting out. I was being silly. So go ahead, Steve.
well, tonight's kind of really cool because I asked the team, I said, look, we're talking about what you're saying, but give me the script. You guys, you want the script? You want to see the script? I do. I want to see the script. I want to see what they're saying. Now, you have to realize you have to change it a little bit because you're not InventRight and you're not Gateway and you're not coming at it that way. But we're going to share. How many scripts are we going to share?
I think
6.
we have six.
Six. And that's from the whole team. So screen capture it, you guys, because we're not going to send it to you. You can watch the video. But if you really want to see exactly what we're saying and not just kind of mumble, 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 you're going to get it tonight. So I think it's going to be a good one.
And if you're not a techie and you don't know how to screen capture, don't worry. We'll put the recording of this session up on YouTube and you can get it then. You can
And
sit and pause it and write it down by hand if you want to, or whatever the hell you want to do
Take a
there to
picture
get it.
with your phone, like I used to do. Take
Yeah,
a
but
picture.
we're not going to email you the document though, but you
I'm
can
not
get
real
it.
tech. I'm not real techie at all. I take a picture. Now I know how to screenshot,
well,
but
you know what's really crazy about it? Everything I'm talking about writing in a script, they don't look like anything I tell them to do. That's the thing I noticed. I've been telling them how to do it right, and it's like nothing that I would say. It's completely different. So that's why I thought it was really fun for me to see it. It's like, oh shit, you're doing it
Well, Steven, I
differently.
mean, you and I expect results. You and I expect the team, Claudia, Chad, Brad, and Dana to get into a certain amount of
I,
companies every week. So they're like, we're going to do whatever it
I
takes.
don't
So
care what you have to do. Get in.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
Exactly. All right.
Steve,
So,
where's Chad tonight?
oh, oh, Chad had his son had a baseball game. They're in some championship
Good for
something,
him.
and you know what? Family's super
Good for
important.
him.
And there's no do-overs for his watching his son play ball in a championship game. So we
Good for
said,
him. Good
go
for
for
him.
it. Yeah.
Family
Thank you.
first, everybody.
And first,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to do that when you're so passionate about your ideas. You have to do it though. Okay.
Yeah, you do.
okay. So if you guys have questions during the meeting, you can type them into the chat down at the bottom. You click on the chat button, type them in. If you click on participants, you should be able to virtually raise your hand. There's a little virtual hand that comes up. Or you can just do this. And we'll be like, oh, okay, maybe we can talk to that person. Okay. So whatever works. Stephen, how do you want to get things started? Because I
Okay.
know you want to get things started.
Okay. If you've never attended one of these meetings before, this is all about how to get into companies and pitch your ideas. It's all about licensing, but you can probably learn a few of these tips and apply it to other things that you want to do. But basically, what we're going to talk about tonight, that when you can reach out to a company, what do you say? How do you pitch it? How do you get them to engage? How do you get them to say, yeah, I want to see your idea? And these are the scripts that our team at Gateway is using to get over 800 companies to respond and say, we want to see your idea. So these work, and we're going to share behind the scenes with you guys. So take them, screen capture them. and use them, use them. That's the whole point of this Wednesday 5 p.m. West Coast Live. Okay, so let's do the
Well,
first
and
one.
before I don't want to like downplay that we're sharing this, but Dana, all they need is the right script, right? There's nothing else to know, right? I'm being sarcastic, right? So like keep that in mind. Don't think like, great, I got a script now. I'll just blast people with this. So after we go over the scripts, Dana can talk about some other important things you need to do, things you need to know, what
Oh, come
mindset you
on,
need to be
Andrew.
in.
I'm,
All
I'm
you
Yeah,
need is that script.
yeah,
I'm
right.
I'm
Right.
probably gonna talk as we go through the scripts, talk about
Good.
each script and why we said what we said in each script, because I don't want to
Cool.
go through them all and just read them and then have you guys try to distinguish, which one I
Good.
was talking about. So,
Right.
let me minimize you here.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. So this was you want me to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
Okay, so this was, of course, you can see Chad wrote this. Now, you can tell right at the beginning, he probably said, hello, Mary, or hello, whoever. Thanks again for returning my call today. That would mean that he called them, probably left a voicemail or left a message for them, and they called him back. Somehow along the way, that he got permission verbally to send this sell sheet because he's saying about the call. And so he's saying, I've attached the sell sheet with embedded video to this email for your convenience. This is my client's product. Now, you're not going to say that. You don't even have to say this is my product. They're going to know it's your product. It assists in, and then what's the product benefit? He says he is looking to license this concept and does have a filed provisional patent application with the USPTO. Now you got to realize you're going to switch that around a little bit. I'm looking to license this concept and I do have a filed provisional patent application, or I do have a patent filed with the USPTO, or a published patent, or whatever you have. If you don't have it, don't say it, but we appreciate your willingness to review new innovation. You can say, we appreciate your willingness to review my innovation in the building materials category. This company is in building materials, and look forward to your feedback. Please let me know if your team have any questions. I'd be happy to get them answered for you, or I'd be happy to answer them for you. If this is not something that is a good fit for your company, I certainly understand. We certainly understand. I would just request that someone let us know so I can update my notes and our client. Thank you for your time and
Hmm.
consideration. Have a great day, Chad.
Huh.
So you can see how I kind of read it, because we're reaching out to clients. We're reaching out to companies on behalf of a client. So these are scripts we send on, like, representing a client. But if you read through it, you can simplify it down so it's like in the first person that you're talking to them.
Well, can I interrupt for a minute?
Yes.
If you
No.
break this down, you guys, you realize that he's saying, look, here's my marketing material, but he's also saying, hey, I got a video embedded in the video. Okay, I got it. But
Mhm.
he's talking about the product name. Pretty cool. If you've got a cool name. But I like that it assisted the product's benefit. I'm all about, hey, this is what it does. This is why you might like it. But then he goes back and says about the IP.
Yeah.
I like that formula, Dana.
Mhm.
I like it. I also like that if it's not a right fit, just let us know for our record. So it seems to me it does what it does. I mean, it's
Uh,
pretty short, pretty to the
yeah.
point.
I like if it's not a right fit, just let us know because
Yeah.
a lot of them they're not interested, they
Yeah.
just archive the email and you don't know. And so letting them know that it's okay to tell me because they're not going to tell you they're not interested if they are. They're not going to say, so it's okay. But I think a lot of people they just don't want to get those no's, but you need the no's. You need to have some sort of answer one way or another. So
Okay.
I like that. I think almost no inventors do that.
Well, he also says patent application with the USPTO. That's really
Mm.
interesting that he adds that. I don't think I've ever said that ever. Now, you
Yeah, I don't say it. I don't. This is funny. You're going to see all these different scripts, and they're all basically the same, but
different.
they're all still different.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And I
Cool.
think it's really important too that he's saying that he is looking to license this.
Oh,
That's important because you need to
okay.
let them know what is your end game,
Okay.
you know? what do you want out of this, interaction that we're having? You could say, I have a product and here's the product name and I have a PPA and I'd appreciate you getting back to me, but you're not really, if you don't say you want to license it, you're not really telling them what you want.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not just going to say Chad.
Right.
If it was you and you're an inventor, you might say Stephen Key, product developer, Stephen Key designs at Gmail, and then there's a phone number, and it looks
Yeah, I mean, in our
professional. So,
scripts, we have our signature in the bottom,
right.
our picture, we have our title, our name, our title, our phone number, our LinkedIn link in our email, so they can, if they're on LinkedIn, they can just click on that to see who we are. I have it in mine. I don't know if they have it in theirs, but I had James put that into my signature just so that they could
That's good.
see who I was.
Okay. We'll jump to the next one. I just want to welcome everybody, not just those on Zoom, but those on Facebook and those on YouTube and those on LinkedIn. And I'm noticing on the live stream, not here on Zoom, it's transcribing the text down at the bottom. It's pretty cool. All right, so let's jump to the next script, Dana.
Okay, so this one's from Chad as well. Thank you for taking my email, and I hope you're doing well. The reason I'm reaching out is because I'm trying to find out if your company is open to reviewing new products from outside developers. I represent a client that has an innovation in the category that would like to submit to your company for potential licensing consideration. I'm just looking to send over a simple PDF sell sheet and a quick demo video to see if this might be something that falls into your wheelhouse. Would you be open to reviewing this new product? If there may be a better contact to inquire with, it would be greatly appreciated, and I would be more than happy to reach out to them. Thank you for your time and have a great day, Chad.
Dana,
Yeah,
is it because we say we represent a client, you think that carries weight?
I do. I do. I
Because
do.
I've never seen the scripts, guys. Okay, so I'm looking at these the first time, just as you are too. I hate to say that.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good that I guess you're looking at them the first time.
I've never seen it before, but I've never seen it. I represent a client. It sounds official.
Yeah. Yeah. I say that all the time. I have a client who developed. I have a client all the time. And I think that's why we're so good at getting in, because we're not the inventor. A couple things we talked about before. The vibe of our emails are more professional because we don't have any emotion in it, because it's not our product. And also that I think companies are more apt to talk to someone that's not the inventor. Unfortunately,
But
I think that's the case.
but if I was an independent inventor and my logo down below looked like, Stephen Key Design Firm, and I
Mhm.
said, "Hi, this is Stephen Key with Stephen Key's Design Firm. We have developed." Does that sound more professional too?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have developed or whatever.
I mean, I developed or we developed work.
He's making a we, Dana. That's
I
what he's
don't, you know
doing.
what? I can
Yeah.
say that
He's
this is the
weeing
thing.
it.
It is we. This is the thing that I did when I was an InventRight student. I looked at it like a we thing because it was me and the InventRight team, at least my InventRight coach. So I had used that script a few times saying
Okay.
our team,
Yes.
if you have, it makes you, you're not really fibbing. You probably have a team somewhere along the line that's working
Well,
with you on
it
something.
doesn't sound like I'm in my garage,
Right,
and it
right.
sounds like I'm,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
would you say, I represent a client, it sounds very professional. And I
Yeah.
think everybody that's listening tonight needs to think about how do you look to them? Because I can tell you they would really appreciate you projecting that a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I would imagine that Chad sent this out to someone that he got an email for. And the reason he's saying thank you for taking my email is because they're opening it up and looking at it.
Got it.
He's
Hmm.
probably, maybe he's never had a conversation with them before, because if he would have had a conversation, he would have not been saying, probably not been saying, asking them if they're open. Because if you're on the phone with somebody, you're going
Yeah.
to ask them if they're open. So this
Okay.
is, he probably found an email somewhere of someone, and he's reaching out to them for the very first time, introducing himself. That he does have a client with an innovation in a certain category,
Okay.
and is the company open to reviewing?
Okay.
You know, another thing that I like about this is I represent a client that has an innovation in the category name category. Mentioning the category, you have no
Mhm.
idea how many submissions companies get and people in companies get where the product is totally inappropriate for their company. So just by doing something as simple as saying it's a bicycle accessory
Mhm.
or saying it is a sleeping in the sleep category or the home storage organization category, and you know because you looked at their product line and you know that they would identify with that word and go, well, that sounds like us. You have no idea how valuable that is. So it's like, okay, this doesn't sound like a waste of time. That sounds like me. That sounds like us. This person's paying attention. They're just not spamming. So
Nice.
little things like that are very valuable.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, go to the next one, Dana.
Yeah,
Anything you
sure.
want to say?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure. We'll go
cool.
to the
All
next one.
right. Now this one's from Claudia.
Okay.
Cool.
Um, Claude, this one would have been she, um, that she reached out to them and they responded saying, well, she says, as I mentioned on our call, let me just read it here. Thank you so much for your prompt email. It is very much appreciated, and we are excited to hear that company name is open to reviewing products from outside developers. Notice she says developers.
Hmm.
And I started using that word as well instead of outside, inventors or outside innovation. As I mentioned on our call, so apparently she talked to them, all of our product submissions will consist of a simple one-page sell sheet with a short embedded demo video. Our goal is to make reviewing products as efficient and painless as possible for you and your team.
Hmm.
If at any point during the process you require any more information or clarification, please do not hesitate to reach out, as I am happy to take any questions and feedback that you may have. There are many products that cross my desk every week, and I'm confident that we will have more products in addition to this one that will be relevant to your brand in the future. So we are excited to build a relationship with your
Ooh,
company. Thank you again for your time and consideration.
this is good.
So yeah, it's very good. She talked to them on the call. I don't know how it would. Thank you so much for the prompt email. Maybe she reached out to them and they got right back to her right away. I'm not really sure because I don't know the backstory of this script. Because when Stephen asked us to send over scripts, we just like went to the last couple scripts that we used and kind of just,
Dana, I think this one is she talked to them and then they sent she sent the submit I think she sent the submission, she submitted
yeah,
it, and then they got back somehow, and then she's replying.
yeah. And
So they have seen the submission, I think.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I know when a company comes back to us and says, no, it's not a right fit,
Uh,
not interested, the next thing
yeah.
we say is, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
a lot of times it's thank you so much for your quick response or your prompt email. If they send it back within, a day or two or 5 days or 7 days, that's pretty quick.
So,
I think
so,
yeah.
so wait, just a minute, you guys. These are long. These are long.
Yeah, these are long.
And someone says it seems like these should be much shorter, which I always
Okay.
thought shorter was better. But you're having a lot of success with these, right?
We are. Well, this is the thing. It really depends on what the conversation was prior to the email. Now, the one that was just before that was a little bit long, but we have to describe. This is the and every inventor is doing this. We're trying to build a relationship with the company,
Got
but
it.
especially the gateway team is really trying to build a relationship with a long-term relationship with a company so we can send them over more ideas. So yes, it does seem a little bit long, but again, you have to read the person, how long was the person on the phone with you? How much information did you get to them when you were on the phone? Maybe they were in a hurry and they're just like, send me over whatever you have. And I was on the phone today with somebody and they said, I think that, we'd like to see what you have. I kind of gave them a description of the product. I think we'd like to really see what you have, but you know what? Can you just send all the information over in an email? So that's why the email would be a little bit longer because I have to tell them exactly why I'm reaching out.
Amy's asking, when you send this, do you really have the right person?
9 times out of 10, we have the right person.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So it's more appropriate at that point. Okay, and you're building upon that first contact even. It's not like it's not like your very first contact you're doing this, are you?
No. We got a couple more scripts that are shorter that are more of the first initial reach out like this. Hello, my client has a patent pending. This would have probably been in a LinkedIn note, maybe.
Okay.
Which is under 300K. My client has a patent pending product that could be a potential fit for your company. Who should I send his one-page sell sheet to within your organization?
Mm.
He's not even asking. That's a little, I think personally, I think that's for me a little too short.
Okay.
There's not enough, I always ask, are you open to outside, designs?
But
yeah,
Brad's really good at this.
yeah, he's really good at this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
wait a minute. So there's not just one formula here, is there?
no, that's the hard part. There's not just one formula.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, there's not. And possibly the person that Brad's reaching out to possibly could have found him on LinkedIn and he's in product development and read his bio and knows that he's the right person to send it to, or so yeah, because we do like so much investigating with companies and people before we reach out to them.
I mean, would people be surprised how much homework you do before you do that?
Yeah, they would. Yeah. It's probably 80-85% of it is homework.
Wait a minute.
Reaching out.
Wait, Steven, see, all you need is the script. I mean, there's nothing else to this.
Well, wait, I know. I want people to understand this. Dana, how much homework do you do on the company and getting the right person before you do anything?
Well, I'll just tell you today, we had that leap session that we do every Wednesday and I started it. It's a 2-hour session and it was, about an hour and 40 minutes on one company, reaching out to about 20 people on LinkedIn because their phone number didn't work. And, I got 3 connections and I studied the website, went to LinkedIn, found the people, trolled their LinkedIn page, see who posts, see who likes on whatever, and targeted those people and then reached out to them. And I did that it was like an hour and 40 minutes.
So it's important.
Yeah.
To do the homework first. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
This one is nice and short.
Yeah, it is. It is. So this one's from Brad too. Hello. I have a client with a patented insert description of products that would be your main benefit. That could be a potential fit for your company. Can you please direct me to the person or email who handles new product submissions? I'd be happy to send a one-page sales sheet and a quick video demo. Thanks, Brad. The reason that I love these little short, sweet messages is because, and I always say this, and I think it needs to be said a million more times, when you send something short, you are getting right to the point and you're telling them, I respect your time. Okay. Now, if anybody's on LinkedIn or anybody gets emails and you get an email that's 3 or 4 paragraphs, or you get a LinkedIn message that is so long and it's so spammy looking, you know what? People don't pay any attention to that. A short script is going to work better than anything that's longer. When you're he's reaching out to a company, he wants to know, are you open? Can you direct me to the right person? So now, it's not all, we don't always do that. Sometimes I think I'll do that. Like if I'm reaching out, maybe to somebody that has a title on their LinkedIn and I'm not quite sure if they're a right fit, I will mention, you may not be the right person, but do you know who looks at new product ideas in your company? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's the best
Who's the best what?
at doing this between you guys?
You know what? I just thought about that today because I keep very, very good records of who got into what companies every week. Like I
Yeah,
just give you a number of how many companies we got into
I
every
know
week.
you don't break it down
I
for
don't
me.
break it down. I
Why?
should I've never done it, but I have records because every time we get into a new company, I put it in the
So
on the
you
list and I put
keeping
initials
score.
beside it. I could actually, oh yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny because Brad and Chad are in competition every week of, if Brad gets into three, then Chad's like, I gotta get into three. And if Brad gets into five, I gotta get into six. And then Brad and I are in competition. So when I see Brad beating my numbers, I want to beat his numbers. So we're in
Well,
the
and to put it into perspective, there's a big difference between getting into three medical device companies in a day or three kitchen gadget companies.
yeah.
Kitchen gadgets a hell of a lot easier than a medical device company. So it has a lot to do with the industry as well on
Mhm.
how much effort, wouldn't you say, Dana?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Some industries are just take longer and
Hmm.
you really gotta work at it harder and reach out to especially big companies
Okay.
that you just gotta reach out to. So, I mean, it is not uncommon, and I'm talking about the mega companies, not like the P&Gs and the big companies of the world, the mega sharks of the world, but like when you have a huge company and they have 100 pages of employees on LinkedIn, it is not uncommon for me to reach out to 50 or 60 people on LinkedIn. If
Wow.
I can't get to anybody on the phone, and usually
Yuck.
companies like that, you're not
Hey,
getting to somebody on the phone.
yuck. Yuck.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm a weirdo, man. I love it.
Well, that's where you got to play the numbers game, Stephen. It
Okay.
sounds like at least that's what Dana's
So
saying. Okay, here's the last one.
I've gotten too old.
okay, so this is mine. And
Ooh,
this is
short.
basically what I do. This would have been a LinkedIn script. Hello, name, first name. I work with innovators developing new products in whatever category their company's in. Is company name open to reviewing new ideas? If so, could you share how that typically works? If not, I still appreciate knowing. Thank you, Dana. That is when I am first reaching out to a company, that is my go-to script. I'm letting them know who I am, why I'm reaching out, and let me know how it works, or let me know if you don't.
Oh.
That is my go-to. And I'll put that in an email as well.
Is
Um,
that too broad sometimes? Like, if so, could you share how
how
that typically works? It seems
that,
so broad. It's not like, well, can I send you a sell sheet or can I send you the marketing
I
for
just
it?
want to know if they're open. That's all I want to know. I just want to know if they're open. If so, could you share how
Hmm.
that typically works? How do you look at new ideas?
Does this one work well?
Yeah, it works very well.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not too gray. You
No, not at all.
share with me how that works if they
No.
don't. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
share
Cool.
if so, are you open to reviewing new ideas? If so, could you share how that typically works? And it works.
Cool.
That script, it's short, it's sweet. It takes them 2 seconds to read. Um,
Okay.
I
Nice.
have I don't think we have any others. Do we have any other
No,
scripts?
that's it. That's
That
it.
was it. So I do have a script I want to read that worked today for one of the fishing companies. They weren't open, but this is really cool. So I said, hello, her name was Heather. I have a client who designed a fishing product. I'm not going to say what it is. Is your company, I said the company name, open to reviewing outside product designs that may fit nicely into your line? If so, I can send up a one-page PDF showing the benefits to your consumers, to your customers. Thanks. And she wrote
Okay.
me back pretty much, oh my gosh, within 5 minutes. She wrote me back and said, thanks for reaching out. I don't believe that our brand teams are open to collaborating on product designs. Additionally, the the category isn't a large part of our business. I would recommend reaching out to other manufacturers, such as, and she gave me two names of companies that I could reach out to because I did mention the product. And then she was a product developer at the company, and she says those two companies specialize in this type of product. And she says product developers is such fun. What a great career you've built. Congratulations. I love those kind of messages. It's like, no,
That's
she's
nice.
my friend, and
Huh.
um, I just like to keep the scripts very, especially if I'm reaching out to somebody really, really high up at the company. I do not want to ramble on in a script at all. I mean, Stephen, your would be considered high up in the company. What do you do if somebody sends you a LinkedIn message or an email that just goes on and on and on?
If it's more than 2 paragraphs, I
Oh,
just don't bother with it
right, right.
because
And
be-
don't you appreciate when they're getting right to the point?
yeah, because it tells me they respect my time
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have a relationship with them yet. And if it's a book, you're stealing my time.
Right.
And that's not the best way to start this relationship off when it's all about me, right? And I know it is all about. Trust me, I like to pitch too, but I think you guys have to realize what you just saw is the way we're doing it, okay? But you also saw that you can do it many different ways. I think what my takeaway would be, all right, you can play with this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so my takeaway, what's important? Well, number one, stating your intellectual property status. That sounds important. Name of your product. Yeah, maybe. Certain category, of course. The benefit. Yes. Are you open? Great question. Are you the right person? These are just really good. And I'm looking at, I want to license it. You're telling why you're there. If you look at it that way, you can write your own pretty much. I also would add, because cost is so important these days, that if you think your product has a huge benefit and the price point's very attractive and maybe lower than existing products, I've used that before. I even went even
Hmm.
further and say it's cheaper than X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, it has this benefit and it's cheaper than this, and this, or
Yeah.
other products in the space.
And
The
I
the yeah, that's
yeah, I even used that with a really, really big company. They responded like that.
Yeah, and I think though too, the main goal is to first, for me, and always has been since even when I was doing my shower caddies, to find out if that company is open or not.
Yeah,
That's the very first thing I want to find out.
it
That's
is. And asking for permission,
all the
I'm going to send a sales sheet, whatever, and asking. But I also think that um, presenting yourself as not just I'm a guy in my garage. I think there's something to it. We use client. I like that. We're a company. The logo. We talked about your signature. It looks like we're in business. And if you could somehow convey that, even though it's by yourself, but yeah, Dana's right. You're probably consulting with your spouse or a friend. All right, maybe,
you can say
it's your
we.
team.
Yes, you can say we.
We,
Yeah,
yeah, we it,
I think
yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's okay too.
Yeah, I
Hey,
think it elevates you a little bit. But if they think you're a solo inventor and this is your first idea and you're throwing it up against the wall, I think I they would probably don't want to spend too much time because they know that they're not there to educate you.
Well, and
right.
there's something else that we do, and I'll share with you. I can't remember. We were sharing something before the meeting. I forget what it was. Oh, I think I just shared it. So if you have, this is a little tip. I guess this is live, so it's what. So if you want to, if you're reaching out to a company and you've reached out to them 3 or 4, 5 times and they haven't responded, you can say something like, I'm getting, like if you use the we thing, we're getting ready to wrap up this project. We just wanted to see if there was any interest before we close it out or something like that. And that gets a response.
Hmm.
That
What does that mean? But
you
it
don't know
sounds
what
it sounds
nobody.
like, oh, I better get back to him, but
Yeah, it's almost like they want to be nice and let you know that they're not interested. And I almost always too will put in there, I give them an out. We talk about that all the time, saying if you're not interested, just let me know. If you're not interested,
Mhm.
just let me know.
Hey, I got a
reply.
I have a question for you, Dana, based on
Okay.
Amy Cutler's comment. And she wrote, I asked them if they're the right person to talk to about a new innovation for their company. My personal preference is not to use the word innovation. I believe it's so like non-specific and blah.
Yeah.
But so my question to you is, when you say, oh, it's in this category or that category of a product that has this benefit.
Mhm.
But I might be wrong. Like, does you or your team use the word innovation? I personally don't like it.
No, we don't.
Sounds
No.
like a bunch of BS
I
to
do
me.
say, innovative. I work with cli-
Yeah.
clients who are innovators or designers I really like, but I will be very specific, and this is where the research comes in. So if you're reaching out to a company that has, three or four or five different brands, find out where your product fits in one of their brands and use that brand specifically. I've designed a product that may fit well into your XYZ brand. I've done that many times. What that says to them is that you've done your homework.
Yeah, I like that.
You've looked at everything and you understand all of their brands. Although I did share, I don't know what call we were on when I did share that the company had like 86 brands or something. And I wrote to the guy and I'm like, I looked at your brands, but not all 86 of them. I said it right in the I looked at many of your brands, but not all 86 of them. It was a crazy, crazy number.
Well, just
So,
saying something like that shows that you understand their business.
Yeah.
so
And Amy, if that's working for you, I think that's great. I see Amy right there. Hey, Amy,
Yeah.
how you doing? Great. Keep using it. But that was my thought. Maybe,
I
maybe you
think,
mix it up if it's not working. Or
yeah, Dana, I think the takeaway for me is that you try a lot of stuff, and when you find something that works,
Yeah.
stay with it, build
yeah.
upon it.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think there's one perfect pitch.
I think the only thing that we always have to remember is get to the point. Don't fluff it up anymore. Like we always say, nobody cares that your mother likes it and your family liked it and you sold 100 on Amazon or you sold
What,
100 at the flea market or whatever. Stay away from all that other stuff.
what,
Stay right to the facts.
how many emails do we get that someone states how it's going to change the industry,
Oh my
how
God.
it's a $10 billion industry, and how, I mean, we got one the other day. We got one today, Andrew, from a gentleman that talked right away. When we get that, it scares us.
Yeah.
Well, it's, I looked the product. I sent you the link to the website, Stephen. It's BS too. It's not, it's
So, but
ridiculous.
why, when you
What,
say
don't,
that,
don't say that. Don't say that. Please never say that, even if it's true.
because it tells me that you might be fairly new to this because you don't have to oversell it.
Yeah.
A
Mm-mm.
good idea is a good idea. You don't have to oversell it. You don't have to tell it it's changed the world. I wouldn't do that. I would undersell it a little bit.
So what are those red flag words? If we only get 2% of the market, we'll both make millions. It's a $10 billion industry. We could have a piece of it or whatever. You get the vibe, right? You could probably think of 20 other ways. You could put that stuff in the chat GBT, tell me 20 ways of saying this, write it all, look at that, paste it into a note, and don't say that stuff. Don't do that. They know their business. Sell the product. Show them how they're going to sell it to their customers. Don't make broad statements like that. Instant red flags. Instant red flag. Anybody that is intrigued, any marketing manager, product manager, CEO that would be intrigued by you saying something like that, something's wrong with them. They'll be like, if they think like, oh yeah, yeah, they don't, they haven't been in business long enough because immediately they should see like red flags,
Well, and
So
the one that
Dana,
they say everybody's going to want one. No,
Yeah. Oh God.
the only product I think ever created that I can think of that everybody wanted one from 5 to 95 is a cell phone. Like that's the only product not everybody's going to want your product. Everybody will want one. And
yeah.
yeah, and I you know what I did? I didn't make that mistake doing that with companies, but in my head, I thought shower caddies. Yeah, how many shower caddies are how many shower curtains are in the world? Oh, I'm going to be a millionaire.
So Dana, is there something that you realize that people probably don't probably have a misconception? Is it how long it takes? How you go in circles sometimes. It's frustrating. You want to pull yourself out. You guys, you have to realize when we first started doing Gateway, we brought in probably 10 people. And I remember when I brought 10 people in, I said, I called everyone individually. I said, this is going to be the worst job you ever have. Because I wanted them to know this is an awful thing. And if they said yes, that was the first test. And then when I told them you have to get into how many companies a week was it? Was it 10 a week? I think it was 10 a week.
I don't even think it was that many. I don't think, but
I
maybe
think
it
it
was
was 10. You have to get in 10 a week. And if you can't get in 10 a week, you can't cut it. And it was brutal. Everybody fell out.
Yeah.
And when I called them to tell them you didn't make it, they were relieved and happy I made
Yeah.
that call.
They're like, I don't want to
Yeah.
keep doing
Yeah.
that.
They're like,
Yeah.
what took you so long? I
Yeah.
wish you had called a little earlier and stopped the pain. But I told them it was a courageous effort. But we were able to find four people. I remember talking to Chad. And I said, Chad, you really want to do this? He says, yeah. I said, you're going to change an industry if you can do this. He said, I want to do it. I said, it's the hardest job you ever have. He goes, I want to do it. I said, you're going to I'm going to have you climb a mountain. He said, Steve, I'll climb that mountain and the one next to it.
Mhm.
So I think what I'm saying here, it was all attitude. Because once you start to do it, it's not hard now, is it, Dana?
No, no, not at all. Not at all. No, it's not. It's frustrating as all get out. It's very frustrating when I'm making, 25 phone calls in a day and I'm not getting through to anybody and I'm leaving a bunch of voicemails and the dial by name directory doesn't work and people, the phone numbers aren't right and and you're following up with people and they're not reaching back out to you and it's super frustrating. Like I get real frustrated if a day goes by that I don't get into a company. But then the next day I might get into three.
Well, I just, on that topic, I just want to say congrats to Frank. Frank wrote in
Yeah.
51 emails sent today, and I got into two new companies. One of them I've been trying since December. Have a meeting set up with them next week, and the other is reviewing. Stay persistent. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that? It sounds like he's just doing emails, or that maybe that's just what he was doing today.
I just don't do emails. That's just, I mean, I send people emails once they give me permission to, and they give me their email,
Right.
then we're connected and we're talking back and forth. I just don't do emails. I'm phone calls, I'm voice messages, and I'm LinkedIn. Phone calls always number one for me. For the Gators, in fact, that's a qualification. If you can't pick up the phone, you can't do this because that's how you're going to get in the quickest. And then LinkedIn would be second. And I just don't find myself sending a lot of emails. I just
Well,
don't.
he needed to send a lot. He sent 51 and got into, and
Well, and I
it's
think,
a hard game. It's a game you can play, but
yeah,
would you say, I'm just going to make a statement, Dana, and you say yes or no. If somebody is literally only using email to get to companies, would you say that that is wrong? Would you
yeah,
say that that is
It's going to take
probably
longer.
yes, yeah,
it
yes,
could work, but
It's just going to
it's
take
not a
longer.
complete, yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I
Dana,
mean, Dana, I mean, Andrew, you have to realize because of the, the, the high, because of the bar that we set, that if they waited for LinkedIn, they wouldn't hit the numbers.
right.
So they realized really quick, I can't wait for someone to get my email back to me. So
Mhm.
I gotta hunt them down. You guys, I've got to stalk them, hunt them
Yeah.
down.
Oh, I know the story you wanted me to tell because it just happened today. I thought I already talked about it, but I didn't. So I called a company today, in the fishing industry, and I got a gal, customer service, talk to me, and I had to explain to her what I was doing. I have my little script, my one sentence of what licensing is. I'll go ahead and say that. So when I'm talking to, so you'll get it on the recording. When I'm talking to a gatekeeper, somebody in customer service that does not know what I'm talking about. And you're going to run into that if you're picking up the phone and you're talking to them. They're just directing traffic and they don't know where to send you. And you say, hey, I'm just curious. I always say, I have their website pulled up. I will always say, I'm on your website right now. And I have a question for you that you may not get very often. Like I'm already preparing them that they're probably not going to they don't get this question very often. And I'll say, and I have a client, or I'm a product designer, whatever. I have a client that has a product in, and then whatever category it is, like Just I'll say in a shower caddy. And I'm wondering if company name is open to looking at new ideas. Do you know who I could talk to there? So the woman says, well, I don't know what you're talking about. So I said, well, it's licensing, like licensing ideas, licensing your product idea to a company. And I said, licensing is when the inventor and the company enters into a contract, and we're going to give you the rights to manufacture, market, and sell the idea. And then the inventor will get a royalty when the product starts to sell, and you'll be selling it under your brand. And she said, I don't know how to answer that. She said, but I can give you an email you can send all the information to. And it was an info at. I
know.
hate those emails. I hate those emails. Oh my God, info at. And I said, well, I said, I'm really not, comfortable sending it there. I don't know where it's going. Who does it go to? She said, well, hold on. Let me send you over to this person. So she sends me over to this other person, and I'm talking to her for a while, and she understands what I'm talking about. And she said, well, you can send it to, and she gives me another like support at email. And I said, and I called her by name. I write everybody's name down. If I'm talking to the gatekeeper, I'm writing her name down because I want to say, thank you, Mary. So I'm talking, and I said, listen, I said, I really understand that you don't want a bunch of junk mail. I said, but I really, just want to get it over to the right person. Is there any way I can send it directly to you? And she said, yeah, sure, you can send it to me. But she only did that because I asked. And then she gave me her email.
I don't like info.
Oh, info and support. Mm-mm.
Like a black hole. You send it there and you're going to get some canned response.
Yeah, you're going to get a thank you so much for reaching out. We'll be in touch within 2 or 3 days, and they never get in touch with you. I've gotten a very, very small percentage, like fraction of a, percent of responses from an info at email.
Okay.
But we talked about the timeline and 51 emails and how you've been working on them since December. I just got into a huge company. I know that I kind of celebrated it because it was a big win for me, and I've been working on them for a year and a half.
I don't want
Year and
to.
a half.
That's awful.
It is awful, but this is where the persistence and the consistency comes in to keep on reaching out. And I reached out to multiple people. I just had to find that right person. This company's huge. I had to
Dana,
find
we got it. We got a question from YouTube here. People ask it periodically since the whole tariff thing back and forth has started. So the person from YouTube said, "How is a tariff war is going to affect the companies looking for new products?" People are always shocked by your response. I want to get an update to see if it's still the case, what you've said in prior weeks.
We are not, and maybe it's hard to believe, we are not hearing from companies that they're not open to new ideas because of tariffs. We're not hearing it. We're just not. I think since this whole tariff thing came about, I think we've had 2 companies that said we're on hold right now until we see what happens.
But you guys, you have to realize too, though, there's a little uncertainty in the air. I mean, that's just reality, right? I mean, everybody knows that. And companies are going to probably look at things a little bit more carefully and take a little bit longer time to make decisions. And to tell you the truth, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because when they do make that decision, they take it, they're going to put effort into it.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I think there's a little caution. I think it's been like that for a little while. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. You just have to prepare for it. Yeah.
Well, and I wouldn't let that stop you from reaching out to companies.
No.
I would not let that at all. It hasn't stopped us at all. I mean, I have to honestly say, when all that happened, we were a little concerned, like, oh, what's going to happen? But we've noticed whatever the past 6 weeks or 8 weeks, it has not affected our getting in numbers at all. Nope.
Cool. Companies always need new products. They always will.
There
We
wasn't.
got more questions because we're coming up on the hour, and I want to make
Yeah.
sure we always
God,
get
it
out
goes
here
so
on time. We got
fast.
11 minutes. Anybody want to raise their hand and share?
There is a question that I would like to address, though. Brandon had a question. A company was going to pitch to, so the first question, their submission portal is no longer accepting. How can I still reach out to employees as normal? Like, I don't know what that word is. I don't know what that word is. Something. So anyway, I'm just gonna tell you, this happened to me the day before yesterday. I reached out to a company and they sent me to a portal and they do look at outside ideas, but their submission process ended on June 15th, 2024.
What?
Yeah. So apparently they have not updated their website for a while, which, you know what, that does happen. We've talked to companies that their websites just haven't been updated. Nobody caught it, right? So this person on LinkedIn was the one who gave me yes, we look at outside innovations and here's how to submit your idea.
Yeah.
I had his information, but he said go through the channels, which I
I
just had
think
to go in and read it.
How do you deal with portals?
We okay. So if a company has a
well
portal,
tell them what a portal is. Some
okay,
people might not know.
a portal is you go to their website, they're open, and they have a submission process right online. So you can, submit your idea here. And you got to watch too, because sometimes those submissions will go to a third party.
Mm-hmm.
And because I noticed that the other day that a company, I clicked on a submission portal and it threw me over into another submission portal. It wasn't for that company. And so that's what a submission portal is. Make sure you just read the fine print. Please read the fine print. But we go around portals if we can. And how we do that is if I hear from 3 or 4 or 5 people in a company that you have to submit through the portal, then that's their policy.
Yeah, I'm not wild about portals, you guys. I think there's some companies that run a great portal, like Oxo. They do a great job with the portal because those are all designers. They work with designers. They get it. But there's some portals that you send it into, and I don't know.
It's not going
I think it's lazy. I think it's laziness is what I think it is.
Yeah. But then, if you reach out to enough people and just ask them, some people I think who work at the company don't even know they have a portal on their website. Like,
Well, we have a portal.
Yeah, I see that.
we have a portal.
Well,
We
and
don't- we don't have-
assuming
I don't know about
that
it.
assuming that everybody in the company knows what's going on and they know what they're talking about, don't make that assumption.
No.
When Dana and I were doing a lot of bridging the gap meetings for our students where we bring on CEOs, product managers, marketing managers and stuff, they would say things like, "Oh, we got this whole other product line that we do here, here, and here." And they're like, "Oh, our website is so old. That's not at all up to date."
Yeah.
So don't always assume that everything on their website is what they're doing or where they are. Now, some of them are great and they're fantastic, and you should always look at a company's website, but it may be incredibly out of date. And there was a few companies, Dana, that had incredible distribution, whole product lines that were nowhere to be found
Right.
on their website with distribution. Now, I just wanted another thing that Brandon put in here. And I just thought it was a funny comment. Stephen won't like this one, but funny enough, I've only been using email, and so far only one company hasn't responded.
That's good.
Okay, I wonder what industry Brandon's in. That is unusual. Don't expect that, but I think that's
That's a
cool.
good
So
thing.
Yeah.
there is no one way, guys. But if something's working for you, and even if it wasn't something we said, you keep doing it. But if something's not working for you, don't keep doing it.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Lori. Lori, I see you there. Nice seeing you. And Dana does a good job, huh? Dana does a really good job. I
I don't
know.
see Lori. I don't know where Lori's at. Let me go to another page.
She's on the other page, but
Oh, okay. Hey, Lori. Okay, I see. You're on the other page. I got stuck on page 1.
she sent out the prototype, Dana. She's got that out.
Cool. Figured it out.
Oh, Lori, I see Lori.
Yeah.
Okay, figured it all out. Yeah, cool. Good.
Right.
Good.
You guys, thank you for attending. In fact, we're coming up. We have a few more minutes. Thank you for attending. Every Wednesday, we're going to bring new stuff. We're going to keep you guys updated on what's happening, what's not happening, what's working, what's not working. So please come back. Tell anybody you know that's struggling. Let them know that every Wednesday we're going to do this licensing playbook what's it called? Licensing Playbook Live, I think.
Licensing Playbook Live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Now,
I?
when is this going up on our website, Stephen? If people wanted to capture those scripts and go watch
I
that
don't, I
video,
don't know. I don't do that. Who does that?
I'll get it on over to James. I'll tell him to get it up tomorrow by
I
the end of
want
the
to.
day.
Somebody had said about in there about the grammar, and it's funny that we want our grammar to be good when we send out an email. But I know how many emails I get back from CEOs of company, and their grammar is bad. it's
Hey,
bad. So
some of us just don't have good grammar, man.
you
Come
know what,
on.
and nobody cares. But I'm going to tell you something I did just so you know that I like to tell on myself sometimes about the stupid stuff that I do by accident. So, anyway, I reached out to a company. They said, yes, we're open outside ideas. I sent them over the sell sheet, didn't hear back. And I looked, I knew I sent it. So I went back and looked at what I sent. So I'm talking about this product in the
Oh
subject.
no,
I sent
I
over
know
the
what
wrong sell sheet.
Oh God.
Totally different industry. So I'm like, okay, well, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do if you do that? Because I tell you what, you're in this game long enough, you are going to do it. And I think Eric heard that the story the other day when I was on there. So I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I just sent an email. So sorry, sent you the wrong sell sheet. Sent over the sell sheet again. Sent over the same sell sheet, the wrong one.
Oh no.
I did it twice. So what do you do then? You just say third time's a charm, and you send over the right one. And you hope they laugh about it. But you know what? Everybody's going to make mistakes. We're not perfect. So this is the thing that I think that holds people back, is they want to be perfect. And you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be yourself and be real.
You just need to do it.
You need to do it.
Yeah, I think the thing is, you guys, you just have to do it. You'll get better at it. And of course, you can always check your grammar and all the fancy stuff we have now. Actually, it's helped me tremendously, ChatGPT and all the other stuff I use now.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So I just like to share that. And we share the things we do over the Gators over here when we do this, because we got so many flying parts and we're sending out so much stuff and we're doing so much stuff. But I've never had somebody come back and say, you're an idiot. Why would you do that? Why would you send, I had somebody come back and say, and this was a long time ago, I don't think that's the right sell sheet. And I said, oh, you're right. It's not. Okay, here, boom. And I send it over to him. And you know what? It's just okay,
And I'm glad you said that, Tina, because I think a lot of people beat themselves up, and then they even never get started, or something goes a little bit wrong and it completely throws them off. And the moral of the story here is, don't let anything throw you off. Just go with it, laugh about it, keep moving forward.
The worst thing has happened to me. I was on a group text, and we were pitching to a company, but somehow one of our team members had the company in the group text.
Oh no. Oh shit. Oh, that's a big deal, man. Oh shit. And you're talking about the deal with them. And oh my God.
Lucky it wasn't too damaging. You could interpret it a couple different ways, but I'll tell you, that's when you realize, slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, you guys.
All right.
Dana, you're awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you, everybody, for the great questions.
Yeah, we're going to have you guys, just so you know, we're going to bring on Dana, Chad, Claudia, and Brad. We're going to bring them all on. And we'll let you guys pick who you think's the best. We'll let them fight it out about pitching. Maybe we'll do something really fun.
They're going to have a cage match with a licensing cage match.
Yeah. I don't know. You know what, Stephen? Because I'm coming out your way at the end of July. I might be right there in your room with you when we're doing one of these.
Come on out.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody.
Great seeing everybody.
Happy 4th of July. Take care. Keep inventing, everybody.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.